I was remembering the other day an experience that I had as a child and wanted to share that with you. I was one of those kids with, I don't know how common this is, but when we would go swimming, I would sink. My body did not float. I don't know how strange that is. Uh, but I remember my parents taking our family to the amusement park and we'd go swimming and we'd go down the great big slide and I'd come down the slide and go into the water and then I would sink to the bottom of the pool and I wouldn't know how to get up. My dad would have to pull me up so I wouldn't drown. And they thought, wow, this is kind of scary. Let's take you over into the shallow end, into the kiddie pool area. There's a little slide over there. Let's try it over there. The water's not as deep. And so they took me over there and I went down, instead of like this 30-foot slide, we went down this 5-foot slide into the water. And oh my goodness, same thing. I'd come off the slide into the water and sink to the bottom of the pool and I'd be sitting there and I didn't know how to get up. And so my dad pulled me up again and they're like, I don't know what to do. I didn't know what to do. I mean, I'm a kid. How am I supposed to know what to do? But that's how I was. My body, for some reason, I would sink and I didn't know how to get up. We had a family reunion one time and there was a pool there at the park that they had reserved, and so me and my brother and my dad were all in the pool just kind of waiting around, waiting, not waiting, we were waiting, and my father and a cousin of his went over where it was, to them it was up, chest or shoulder high about, and for me and my brother it was over our heads at that time, and we were just kind of, my father and cousin were just standing there in the water up to their chest talking about whatever, catching up. Me and my brother were just messing around, but we were just hanging onto the sides of the pool and just like trying to do little tricks like let go and spin all the way around. How many times could we spin, and then we'd grab on the side again because it was over our heads, so we weren't too adventurous right there. But then we got this idea: if we grabbed onto the side and pushed off with our feet on the side, how high up out of the water could we get ourselves to go? And so my brother tried it a couple of times and said, okay, let's see if I can get higher than my brother. And I grabbed the sides and I pushed off with my feet and pushed down with my hands and shot my body up as far as I could go. And I went out away from the side and then down into the water. And of course, I went to the bottom. And I stood there, and I didn't know how to get back up. And there I am, 2 feet of water over my head. I'm down at the bottom, just standing there, holding my breath, holding my breath, holding my breath. And it went on, and to the point that it started to hurt, and I started to panic. I am going to die. And finally, my brother got my dad's attention, breaking a conversation with his cousin, and pointed out, he's not coming up, and he's not coming up. So my father saw me, he reached down, pulled me up out of the water, and that experience really scared me. And from then on, I had fear of water. I was really afraid that it would kill me. And a few years later, I was the age of Cub Scouts, and our Cub Scout den got together and we're going to do swimming lessons. And so that's great. I was in this class with, 6 or 7 other kids, and we would do different exercises, and I would do everything really good, all the practice things, as long as I was at least an arm's length from the edge of the pool. If I could touch the side of the pool, I would do whatever the teacher was asking us to do to learn how to swim. But that wasn't good enough. There were things she wanted us to float and coast and paddle, whatever we could do, out into the pool, back and forth across the width of the pool. And no way, I am not going out there because it's over my head. I will die. If I go out there, I will sink, I will die. and I'm not doing that. And this went on for several weeks. I wasn't really making any progress like the other kids ever learned to swim, and because I wouldn't leave the side of the pool. She was kind of a strict teacher, and she wasn't going to stand for this. She's going to help me. Out of the kindness of her heart, she's going to help me. And she grabbed my hand one day, and she dragged me away from the side of that pool. And I got hysterical. I'm trying, she just dragged me, wouldn't let go of that iron grip on my hand, and she dragged me out into the water further and further from the side. And I was screaming, I was crying, and I knew I was going to die. And I didn't. I'm here to tell you this story. My swimming lesson teacher did not kill me that day. Interesting thing, when she got me out into the right smack in the middle of the pool, my feet were touching the bottom of the pool, and the water was, it was up to my chin, but my mouth and my nose were above the water, and I was fine. And in that second, all of this fear, I just felt this whole burden of fear just lift from me. It was an amazing experience, and I thought, I'm not gonna die. I thought the water was over my head out there in the middle of the pool, and it's not. It wasn't what I thought it was. And the fear left, and from then on, I did all the practice things that she asked me to do, and I learned how to swim. And from then on, I enjoyed experiences in the water. I enjoyed going swimming all the time. Further on in Scouts, I did more requirements to advance in Scout rank and all that kind of stuff, and I enjoyed being in the water. And as I was remembering that experience the other day, I thought how there are other areas in my life where that same kind of experience has been a real thing to me. I've experienced doubts and fears and hesitation. Those feelings, anxiety and doubt and fear, they just make you hesitate. It's just like, I didn't want to leave the side of the pool. You don't want to do those things that you're feeling like you're being led and prompted to do, because the anxiety is just like, there have been times when I thought there was something that I should do to help people, something good, but I was so afraid. The anxiety was so overwhelming that I thought I'd even have a heart attack. It was just so pressing down. And as I kind of powered through that experience, it was the same thing. As I jumped in and went ahead with what I thought was right, in the moment of taking action, that burden of anxiety would leave. And not all the time completely. I mean, sometimes it's still to step out of your comfort zone and stretch and grow that way is still a little bit uncomfortable. But I realized that the feelings that I had as I stepped into action was nothing like what I imagined it was going to be. The imaginative part, the feelings that it would bring up imagining doing that was far more intense and overwhelming than the actual experience was. And so it just reminded me of when I was a child in the water, overcoming that fear of water, that it's not what we imagine it will be. Our imagination makes it feel far worse, far more intense, to the point that it completely paralyzes us and we can't do it. The point of this story is, don't let the doubts and the fears and the anxiety paralyze you. Just realize that in those moments, what you're imagining the outcome will be, the experience, what you think it will be, even though it may be uncomfortable a little bit, it's never going to be what you imagine it will be. The imagined experience is far more worse and intense when it comes to doubts and fears than the real experience. And so I found that just remembering that as I do it, as I step into the water and go across, as I just get into action, that imagined feeling leaves, and then I experience the real thing, which is maybe a little bit stretching and growing and uncomfortable that way, but I can handle that. I can handle the real experience. The imagined experience almost stopped me from doing it, and at times has stopped me from doing it. That's my message today. is just remember the real experience when it comes to doubts and fears and anxiety. The real experience is never going to be as paralyzing as what the imagined experience is causing to happen in you. So if you can apply that to your life, please do, and I hope that you can benefit by having the real experience and not being paralyzed by that imagined experience. So have a great day and hope you can use this. Thanks for watching. Bye.